Alex Answer here, coming to you from BLM land in South Fork, Colorado. It's actually the first time that I've parked at this specific location. You know, the vibes are starting to get to me over in Del Norte, and I actually parked over, by their city park, and it's got some creepy vibes. Looked over at the graffiti, and there's like an 18th Street gang sign spray painted on the side of the wall. And then a few days earlier, I was in Alamosa getting my state ID. Transferred my old license and transfer from out-of-state license thing. Got my Colorado license. Got all my papers in order, which is really, really important when you're traveling. To have insurance, to have registration, current license. You know, and I've been going through a lot of stress. You know, I'll go off the cigarettes, and then I'll be doing stuff on the internet. I'll be absorbing information, and I'll fall back in this habit of chain smoking, and it hurts. Doesn't make the other things that I'm dealing with any better or easier. So I changed my environment. I keep moving. And yes, it's expensive. It can be expensive. Yes, gas is going up. It was $2.29 at the pump today at Shell. You know, I add a little coffee on top of that, a little sugar, maybe not the best diet, especially if I'm smoking. It's rough, folks. I'm not always exercising. Sometimes I feel like I'm just falling apart. Look at this beautiful grass. But right now I feel alive. It's the springtime. Let's take a look over here. This is new landscape for me. You know, this isn't like a place that I've been 1,000 times. And so I can feel a certain way in a part of the San Luis Valley, or anywhere for that matter. Change the environment up a little bit, go to a place of nature where it feels like it's vibrant, where it's healthy, where it's growing. And I've also been fond of the desert as well. But right now, I'm trying to, I am rekindling my affection for the botanical world, greenery. There's a time to be in the desert, and that time is behind me. And I'm making these videos also about Costilla County because I'm trying to put it behind me, but I've also got to set the record straight on a few things. And that's what I did in the last couple of videos. There's really not a whole lot more to say. And I'm looking forward to whatever comes my way. Good things. So up here, there's some really nice trails, water. I took a drink straight out of a creek that was coming through. Saw some elk, just like I did the other day when I was at the other campsite. South Fork is a beautiful place. And I came here at a really good time. And look how no one else is here. Look how, it's the small things. Look, I've been to campsites in Oregon where it's like, there's like a gravel thing you drive on. There's even times where I've literally pitched a tent on the gravel at an Oregon campsite. Here, yeah, there's this here, but over here, this isn't an official campsite, but this is dispersed camping, where someone could park over here and walk up. Looks like there's an opening over here. If I had a tent right now, and it would be good, to have some bear spray. A can of that runs for about $40. Good size can, so. But look at this grass. And what's interesting when you travel through Colorado, the environment really changes incrementally, from the sagebrush to getting outside of if you're going north, depending on which way you're going, into the mountains, either direction, it starts getting greener. And so you see it change incrementally as you're driving. Right now, it's late May, so, we're in a growth period. You see these beautiful tones of green in the trees. And it's even a different green than the green that I'm accustomed to seeing in Oregon. And I'm not even using my best camera right now. I'm using a little flip camera. You know, so you're not even getting the full resolution. A couple birds up here. I was actually thinking about a certain friend of my life and how, you know, just I felt a sense of gratitude for this person being like an angel. And moments after that, what looked like a little hummingbird came and just stopped and, you know, just kind of paused in midair to look at me and then went off. So after I put Costilla County behind me after the traffic date coming up, I'm going to visit a friend, and that's going to be good. That's going to be good. Stop driving for a little bit, for a couple days, reground in nature a little bit. Yeah, real emotional, you know, although honest and completely truthful and well thought out, a little bit all over the place, a little bit jumpy podcast last night talking about my early experiences in Costilla County. And I'm doing this to come full circle to put that behind me because Costilla County has consumed my consciousness. Costilla County and its politics has redirected my focus. There are other things for me to be talking about. I have unfinished business. I have unfinished projects. You know, I've taken my own advice. You know, you can't see a certain area as a place where you can just go and just be healed just because you're there. I'm taking that advice myself. At one point, you know, I kind of had Costilla County up on a pedestal. That's no more. And that's healing. You know, I would like to think that I have the right answers for myself and that I've made the right decisions. And, you know, in a way, I have made the right decision. I've been traveling and I've been getting to know this state and this region very, very well in parts of northern New Mexico. And I appreciate this experience. And I'm blessed with good health. You know, some comments came in on a video from a few days ago regarding that video where I talked about my Mac bit the dust. Hopefully I can get it back to life. People are just assuming that someone's gunning for me, that it's some sort of a cyber attack, or in particular someone local. And the unfortunate thing is, even though I dabble with research that could be considered conspiracy research, there's a lot of people out there that are lost in a state of fear. And it controls them. And they don't realize how it controls them. I've been living this life for a while. I've never been someone that's been in hiding. I've always been a public person, easy to find, easy to contact, and I've left myself open for people to contact me as well. And I've gone back to certain people. I don't get back to everybody. And especially nowadays, it's more important that I become more independent than ever. That's why I put that $1,000 down in the attempt to get the land. I'm still waiting on the title company to actually do their job and do the paperwork. I don't know why they stretch things off for a few weeks to a month. I'm told by the realtor everything's a go. I'm not sure why things are taking so long on the paperwork end. So, that combined with coming back to Costilla County, those two things together have created a world of stress for me. And there's a few other things. A lot of time spent on the internet being a very expensive thing for me using the Verizon prepaid, and I'm realizing, you know, I'm trying to ration and not even watch YouTube videos and just do my blog work. And the reality is, I went through a lot of my data. In 10 days, I went through what should be 30 days worth. So I'm not going to be using the internet tomorrow, and I'll be going to our friends in a few days, taking care of Costilla County on Tuesday. So I'll be trying to hold off from buying my next prepaid card. So I have to be very strategic in the future with my uploads. As far as the land thing, if I do get land, eventually I'll get satellite and I'll get something figured out. From that moment forward, hey, life is still life. We still have stresses. It's not going to be my own private utopia, but it's going to be a break. It's going to be a break from the road. It's going to feel good to spend every month that land payment, to make that land payment, to know that in a few years the land will be paid off, to know that in my older years I'll have a place to live. Now, there are people that are already living up there unconventionally. It's not like Costilla County where they're just coming because it's like a new thing. They've been there for some time. And there are other communities out there in America where people are living a certain way and it's low key because it's not really on the radar. See, these things we don't really talk about or we don't really think about. But there is a little bit of freedom out there. It's a matter of discovering it, stumbling upon it. But for it to be mass marketed, come here and do this and it's cheap, doesn't necessarily work. And you end up with problems. And Costilla County has had a number of problem residents, as well as the land use codes now preventing, say, an RV on a plot of property that somebody owns without all this stuff. So getting land and living off the grid takes serious research. It's not just something that, you go find a book and it gives you all the answers. Like Joel Skousen's Strategic Relocation, for example. There's some things that I think are good in that book and things that he said in his interviews. And then other things I've disagreed with. And then later actually came to see how he had a point. For example, he said for people that are white, for a shit in the fan situation to, or even to find a plot of land for your underground bunker or whatnot, to be careful what county you pick because there might be a backlash racially against new residents of a certain racial background. I thought that was kind of assumptuous. Then we see what happened with Costilla County. And there was a little bit of that going on. And we know that to be the truth. But it's not just that situation. It could be a situation where it's a white community. And they're freaking out about people that, that they're worried about illegals. They're worried about ISIS. And usually those two things together. And what do those two things have in common? Fearing people that often have darker skin, or brown skin, or tan skin. And it is true. They are whipping America up into this fearful frenzy, and I see it when I go in town, and more in some areas than others. But I have a unique look about me, and maybe some people just don't like my clean-cut look, and it's not racial. I know what that is like too, folks. It's not always racial. And on another level, it's straight up the fact that there's a certain light around me that certain humans of a certain vibration can't stand to be around. And I don't necessarily think that I have full control over. See, we have control over our actions and our magnetic field, but sometimes we can have a powerful energy, and that's just what we are. Like my eyes vibrate, at a certain frequency or level, depending on my mood and consciousness. If I'm angry, I can be really angry. If I'm being loving and kind and or whatever, that's going to be magnified as well. So my eyes are expressive, and that startles people. So when I look at people, I can see it kind of. A lot of people look back like maybe it's danger, like they're really, or they're overwhelmed by what they're seeing in the eyes. There's a lot that I've picked up on people. So for me to be able to live in freedom, to be able to be away from a major city and just have moments like this, hopefully have my own land in the future, but for now, moments like this, visiting a friend here and there, but mostly on my own, independent from needing other people's help. That doesn't mean there's not a room in my life for friendship. and things of that nature, there is room in my life for friendship. But I'm on this journey, and I'm trying to get to this spot. So I don't want to live in reactionaryism. You know, the vibes that I pick up off people because I'm very sensitive. I want to develop a higher state of discipline. In addition to that, I understand when I'm left to my own devices and I have all the internet that I can use and I have all the space that I want, that isn't necessarily bring enlightenment either. We all have to maintain a really close connection to nature. And I can feel the difference in my heart. This place from where I was yesterday. Yesterday chain smoking and reminiscing over my first experience in Costilla County, but realizing, and it felt good. And I was a Persian negativity of a lot of experiences, but it's the sharing of a story, and it's exactly how it was. There wasn't a lot of positive stuff to balance it out, except for the fact that I was living in a yurt and I was alone. And I had that sense of privacy. And I still have that. Not in the yurt. I'm in something better. I'm in something on wheels. And I have the means to power those wheels. And at least for now, afford the gas to get from point A to point B. So, a closeness to nature is important to our own thoughts, our true thoughts. That internet, which I am on now, it's a huge part of my life, and there's information on the internet that I re-report and share on my channel. And then there's stuff that is mirroring truth. It's this archonic diversion, the white genocide, Muslims raping you, but also, dark person, be afraid. Muslims will be exterminated. They're coming for you. I mean, there's constant psychological terrorism for people of all different racial backgrounds to be afraid that the siege is about to begin. Whether you're white, whether you're Middle Eastern, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're black, that's horrible for people to be running around saying that all police kill black people or have an interest in killing black people, or that all police are guilty for the actions of other police. It's troubling. It is very, very troubling. And I see other forms of psychosis right now happening in Portland. Check out Mike Blue Hair. Check out Robert West Portland. I'm giving you some key YouTube channels. And for years, these are the only guys documenting what's happening in the street. So they're doing cop watching. They document protests. Something bit me. Red ants. Mother. And so, but it's not the cop watching really that I'm taking away from it. It's what's going on in the streets of Portland. They're losing their shit. There's something going on energetically in that Old Town, Chinatown area to where those people get some drinks in them and they're ape shit possessed. And there's near riots on a near regular basis, whether it's coming out of the bar or people screaming at the Portland police by the thousands for the murder of Michael Brown, which didn't even happen in Portland, Oregon. Just mob psychosis responding to the solar energy and this epoch as this cycle reaches completion, as we go through this and begin the descent. There's a climax of energy taking place, but these people don't understand what's happening in their bodies, and I do. My connection with nature has been coordinated with these major changes taking place in these cities, going back to 2012. December 21st, 2012, where was I? Costilla County. I was there for a month in the yurt. I wasn't there preparing for a pole shift. I was there to be in a state of peace during that period of time and not be around the city people or living in a car at that time. And the rest is history. And here we are, 4 years later, 3.5 some odd years later, and I'm getting ready for a whole new chapter to begin as I close the doors to Costilla County forever. So, the internet gives us information, and the internet allows us to share information from others, but I just realized something as my internet went out, the prepaid device. Man, I need to be walking around more. You know, and if I don't feel like walking around in a certain area because there's a gang sign or because it's a town where they might not like an outsider, you know, for example, Antonito, Alamosa, other places, they don't like outsiders, then go somewhere where there isn't any tension. Gas is always going to be the thing. Sometimes, some expenses, some efforts, some bits of extra effort, extra thought is worth it. Like that expression, it's worth the drive. And I've also realized that certain things that don't make sense in certain areas, when I move and I go to another area, there's something about, like the San Luis Valley has a number of vortices, as far as I'm concerned. And I've had some other people that are a friend that's fairly intuitive kind of give this area her perspective, and there's areas of it where it's like a blob. It has a lot of interdimensional energy relating to worlds where there's no color, just a black and white, gray reality. That sounds a little bit archonic, you know, and there's some beautiful aspects of nature as well. So there's the light and the dark is basically. Alex Answer here. It is Sunday, May 23rd, 2016. Waking up here in South Fork, Colorado. I'm thinking about a short little hike up the road there. I'm going to be doing some organizing in the RV of this particular section. But lately I've been trying to have just more practical space. This area really built up in the last week, and so I cleaned it up. I've been sleeping in this area instead of up here. This is a little bit more strategic to sleep up here during the winter, because you can put a curtain up here, and with the Mr. Buddy heater, you can have the heat retained in this area. Over here, not so much. This is more of a summer space, and I think that this could become a more comfortable space if another mattress was put down. But I'm not planning to do that. I've actually just adjusted the last year living, sleeping. Basic kitchen area, water doesn't work. Try to keep it clean. Really hard to do. You know, but got the garbage down here. And when I'm able to throw the garbage out when there's a dumpster, I do it. I pay more attention to things like that. Try to have extra water on hand. A couple containers like this. Need to find a replacement cap for this. Always roll around with two of these. And I have my generator there. So I have enough area to walk up here and get out this way. Here is a truck club for periods in which I might be leaving the RV and might want to, you know, lock it up just for the additional psychological security at least. And this, which is normally the bathroom / shower, is currently a storage area for clothing, and there's a couple totes right there. I'd like to reorganize those totes. You know, you have a bunch of wires and they start getting all tangled. That kind of thing's going on. This kind of thing starts going on. This kind of avalanche in the making goes on, and I'm tired of stuff spilling. In addition, this is the area where I've been keeping my books. Not my books of my whole lifetime. This is just some stuff I bought since I've been in Colorado. And some stuff to keep me entertained. And there's a lot more books. There's actually more books over there. There's my Mac that kind of bit the dust. Here's a fan for when it gets really warm. Here's my new computer. And this has a lot more energy than the battery is a lot more efficient than the Mac. And I have a hard drive for the Mac and a hard drive for the PC. And the editing software for the PC, there's a knife. I mostly use that for just cutting up potatoes and onions. And a couple other gadgets. Again, a few cameras. There's my Verizon prepaid. $100 for 10 gigs a month. Seems like I'm only getting these for like, you know, 10 days. There's that nicotine. Take a look outside. Seems like after 10 days I'm losing my data, or I've used up my data. I'm barely watching YouTube. I've downloaded a few of Kyle's MP3s. But I've kept my usage really low, but I did upload several videos. Makes me paranoid that someone's stealing my data. That I'm being ripped off. But that aside, you know, I came out here when my data plan ran out. It's like, okay, well, even though Verizon does work here, I just felt, I don't know what it was. I could have came out here with the internet. I felt psychologically, oh man, how do I put this? I definitely see how a lot of Americans are addicted to their digital devices. I was talking about the internet last night, and I found myself heavily addicted to, I'm using a cell phone, a prepaid smartphone from Walmart, a real cheap one. I'll tell you, once you start watching a few videos, man, it's on. And if you're isolated inside because it feels negative in your environment around you, then change the environment and come somewhere positive. Go somewhere positive. See, that's how they keep people on the grid. I'm gonna end this segment right here. That's how they keep people on the grid. The cheap, all-you-can-view internet in this world of Netflix and Facebook and YouTube. And I've accessed those things off the grid, but they use data. They use data. I don't know, maybe Facebook is using more data than what I thought. And I'm just thinking small icons, not a whole lot of... But, no, when you're in the city and you have it wired up into the grid, into your house, you know, you have all the internet that you can use. That's just how it is. You go out in a rural area, and Verizon in the New World Order, they want to charge you $100 for 10 gigs. And then you go to Walmart for an alternative, and they give you an alternative. You can have 5 gigs for 50. It's the same fucking plan. They use the Verizon towers. How's that for a fucking joke? So, you know, I just wanted to throw that in here during my morning thoughts. I better go back and have my coffee. I just had one little sip, and I'm like, well, all right, I'm ready to go. Living off the grid and mobily, and accessing affordable internet, Zen and the Art of, a coming documentary film and ebook by Alex Ansary. Now we're going to focus on the view of nature from this trail. This is a National Forest Road. Again, that's what I'm walking on. There's no one else here, but this is completely open to the public. And I've been enjoying some of that this last few months. I'm walking backwards, which I normally don't do. I feel like my thoughts are a little bit more calmer. Yeah. Little less this, boop, 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 like a heartbeat. You know, purging out stories from the road, the past, Alex's past. Looked at in depth with a microscope. A new podcast series coming soon. That aside, here we are. Again, noting the unique tones and shades of green. This is just a flip cam, by the way. It's basically cell phone quality. Something's not right with my other cameras. I'll work it out. I'm not worried about it. Now there's some water that runs down there, but if we walk up a little bit, I'm gonna have to hit pause, save my battery power. Sun's coming up, by the way. Completely clear skies. In South Fork, you can see the effects of geoengineering sometimes, but it's far less than, say, Alamosa or Costilla County. So on a day like this, you know, a period like this when everything is growing, it's when everything is vibrant, it's really pretty. I can hear it over there. And the winds come through. They have their own interesting sounds. That area, Ole Caliente, around New Mexico, northern New Mexico, that I was visiting recently, that I'm going to be visiting again. This area reminds me of that, the shape of the mountains. Now down there it's drier, and it doesn't have the same type of greenness. Well, maybe it is now. It doesn't have as many trees, but the geography, the landscape is familiar, even though it's not as moist, the shape of it. And then you have periods. We have naturally induced climate change caused by the sun and its effect over weather patterns. And this has been going on for thousands of years. Most humans are never schooled in it. Now they're banning any materials in classrooms that have another view on climate change. So it sounds like, because I know I was not really taught as a young person how the sun affects weather patterns and its connection with earthquakes. Unless people hear it from scientists, they're not going to just look at the obvious patterns for themselves and look at the data. This is happening when this is happening. Therefore, there's a connection. You don't need a scientist to tell you there are patterns in your own personal life. You might notice those patterns in your own personal life. It's our job to investigate truth for ourselves. We are not here to just be mindless slaves, to just simply obey orders. And that's where a lot of parents and teachers have it wrong. They're not here to be a controller. They're here to help other human beings, also known as children, develop themselves, not become perfectly corrected or disciplined cogs in the machine. So check this out. We're walking in between a couple of boundary lines. And there's the road, 160. That looks like a cabin for rent over there. Over there, there's a sign that says owner financing and other cabin rentals and commercial campsites down here. A lot of nice homes in South Fork. Wouldn't mind house sitting over there or something of that nature. I feel like when I first saw it, wasn't too appealing. But I'm going to visit a friend in this general area in about a day or so, just for about a day. Someone I already know, not some random person. And I took a look at where this person is, and it's like another vortex, another spiritual high point in the San Luis Valley. It's just a matter of being able to afford the land or afford the rental. It's not all people living on land they own. There are some rentals. And sometimes those things operate word of mouth. Hey, I know somebody that's got a rental out in the country, a full house, $500 a month. It happens, folks. It happens. An apartment, $300 a month. That happens too. Rare, but the person I knew in Trinidad, her rent was $325 a month. That's unheard of. It's like Portland 1990s prices. It's about who you know. It's also about having good luck. You know? I don't think everything is about the new age style of manifesting for yourself through law of attraction, bring materialism to you. Aspects of that are real and possible. Not every aspect. Can every person be a millionaire? Can every person live out here and have their own home? There's only so much space in the South Fork, Colorado area. So anyone with common sense would realize that no, not everyone can have the same thing at the same time. My RV. There's a whole bunch of school kids that were walking up that trail as I was coming down, so I'm actually going to walk now. This actually reminds me now of some landscape that I've seen in Trinidad, Colorado, although there was much drier, much more clay-like, and over a natural pipeline. But near the place where the apartment was, I would walk over in the mornings and sometimes meditate in this kind of open area that was next to some plots that people actually lived on, and it gave me a sense of privacy. So here I am now on BLM land, walking down to 160. Changed my shirt out of the aggressive red. It scares some white people. When you have a brown man in a red shirt, I'll tell you what, sparks can fly. I've seen it. I'm not joking, I've seen it. So, wearing more of a neutral color, coming down the mountain. And so you can see it's like a little trail. Goes down this way. Underneath the trees here. Like I said, been doing a lot of need to work out some of that. Need to get the oxygen moving, the blood moving, muscles moving. Maybe even the point of a little muscle soreness today. You know, really give it the extra push. Warning, a corporation owns this. There's actually a... So yeah, here's the property next to the entrance. Either a home or a cabin. Same thing over here. And or a rental rather. Either own it or rent it. And you have an old barn right here. Some sort of canal right here. Oh, look at that. Little bridge. You know what? That might be a for sale sign over there. This says acreage for sale, owner financing. So, you know, you cut out the middleman, cut out the bank, and you're dealing with the owner. In some cases, you know, like the situation I have that's pending, that's far more affordable than paying the attorney fees, you know, when they're brought in to be another middleman with the bank or the private financer. Okay? It says price reduced, meaning this home has been for sale for a while.